Hi, family members, friends, guardians, and guides. Something I want to talk about that I have noticed is the fact that people text themselves a lot. Um, and even journal, but specifically text themselves and seeing that it actually displays out in a reality. It's not like they just text themselves and they don't ever see no results as into what they received. Um, I keep saying but it's just a perspective that I've come to develop, which I'm enlightened by. But over time, this has been coming to me as into spirit. Always keep asking and referencing, will you ever figure out who you're texting, who you are communicating with from a distance? Which this perspective is new to me as into it's your spouse. It's your spouse who you are texting. But will you ever navigate to each other? Which is taking me into a garden aspect. It's a Adam and Eve energy, but it's in the die and be reborn energy, which helps me understand the marriage perspective. Um, as into finding that other half and then coming forth to everybody else to let them know I found my other half. So I just thought that was so intriguing because this was brought to me a while ago when I received this information. I have started noticing because I'm a person who texts themselves, um, which I might even need to change the way I word that because it's like no, it's correct. I'm texting myself. I was just thinking, it's like it's not myself, but it's my other half. It's the other part of me, but that makes the oneness. But I started noticing in other people, like one of my other translators. She's the one who also texts herself. Um, and she do see it display. But I noticed the way that she expressed herself is like, is that how your partner would talk to you? That's how I started off. Like, I'm 1,000% sure what she's seeking and what she's texting, how she feels through that message is the same way her partner would treat her. So I thought it was intriguing. It's just, will you ever run into that person? Are you aware enough to realize you're getting map guidance, if that makes sense? Or you can navigate right to that person. But even with me thinking about that, because her name is Queen of Cups. Her name is Destiny, but she go by Queen of Cups. She actually is working on something I think is really beneficial for us right now. And that's actually physically coming together. Like we're all connected from a distance. Like she lived all the way in Canada, but we received the same guidance. Um, and she's actually working on us all being able to like meet up together. Like she's been having retreats and things that I was like, oh my God, I need parts in that. I think that is so beautiful to have connections with people from a distance, but actually come together and unite. It's nice to actually be able to hug the mirror, if that makes sense. Like you see in a reflection, but it's like it seems so far. It's close because it's the mirror, but you know, to actually make this life more enjoyable, or it's not like an illusion, metaphorically. And she be working on that. I think that's so cool because I think that will bring back what's naturally in us, which is the connection. Other than having to rely on this technology aspect, because even our wonderful religion aspects, that's something I have to speak on also. It's something I've been thinking about. It goes with this aspect when I speak of. It reminds me of the garden and the Adam and Eve situation. I really believe that my partner is my God. My spouse, my other half, is my God. He's my Lord and Savior. He has what has returned back. I just have to find, you know. Um, and a lot of people in religion will have a hard time believing that aspect, but I just keep getting enlightened with that is what it is. Once you find that, it makes sense why possibility is endless. There's always the world is yours, if that makes sense. Not in I don't know no other way to express it. You know, some people will take it to the head, and I don't know. It's literally what it is. Um, some people take it to the head. We just gonna let that wave just go. Um, but it made me really stop and think, just for the simple fact of, I'm thinking of the marriage time. You come forth and you let people know, your little audience and everybody know, I found my person. We back together. Garden good to go. And garden good to go. But afterwards, you continue to pray to somebody, and this is something I speak on a lot. Because I do believe that partners, once you come forth and you make that commitment, y'all should be able to rely on each other to navigate. That's where I have a hard time with the oneness aspect, and why I feel like it'd be too much confusion within that oneness. Like, y'all should be good. I'm not saying that everything's gonna be perfect. There's always something new to learn. I get amazed all the time by learning something new within this oneness. But actually having that other half, like, there's no blind spots. But metaphorically, I feel like I should say metaphorically, because technically I'm not all the way in it, but this is what Spirit is telling me, and it's like, there shouldn't be any blind spots. But some people within their marriage, this oneness, they have a hard time communicating with their spouse. So maybe they go and pray without their spouse, and that seems to be so wrong. It's like that one is the God and one is the goddess, which I'm the goddess. I'm just saying that part is important, because it's like, who are you praying to? Or are you still operating on that distance connection? I do believe there's a creator, somebody who created it, and that's where it gets a little intriguing to me, honestly. But when it comes to that, I feel like it's a woman. For everyone's just like, you just all no. I'm just getting enlightened, and I'm just sharing with you guys, and y'all can get perspectives, or maybe it's blind spots to you guys. I'm not sure, but I still believe that it's a woman, and it's intriguing because it makes me think about myself when I go back to the garden, of course, when they did something they weren't supposed to do. Somebody knew, and that's the creator aspect that I'm referring to us to. Is that who you praying to? It reminds me of myself. I know when something is wrong with my child. I created that. I know something is wrong with my child. You ain't gonna tell me no different, because I created it. I know, And some people seem not to understand that concept. Like, how do you know that? They didn't tell you that. I created that. I'm a part of that. Like, I know you did something wrong. I even get effects from it. I believe it's that same aspect of energy. And even just like in the garden aspect, they tried to go and hide. It's like, you can attempt to lie, but I know you did it. But back to the praying aspect, I believe it's still a woman aspect. I don't know if it's in the mother form or something of that nature. It's still a woman you're praying to at the end of the day. But it did really make me think, there is still people in the oneness. In that oneness, there's still creatures, there's still other life forms that you can pray to within that oneness, is what I'm getting at. And it's like, is people aware of that aspect? Like, who are you praying to? Is a good question. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't want to know that part, but it's important to know that. Definitely, this is specifically for oneness. I know others can relate. It's probably even in the aspect that I'm speaking on. But this is specifically marriage energy. That as a oneness. But when you're not understanding that whole definition of oneness, that goes all the way back to Genesis and the whole creation aspect, which is your oneness, then it causes confusion as into when you have to go to other people for validation. It is part of your oneness, but when you don't think that your partner is a part of it, is the intriguing part. It's a video I made a while ago. I might actually share it, or I might go back and just look at it for myself. Spirit was saying that you're supposed to confide in your partner. They have your answers. If you are lacking, they have your answers. Actually, that's part of clarity too. It's something I started watching, and it said, make peace with your strength. This is specifically if you have a partner and y'all having hard times or whatever. You have to confide in them. They have your answers. And it's funny because there's somebody I watched yesterday. I've been enjoying this guy. I can't even think of his name right now. It's intriguing, but he goes by In the Basement. He's like, he have a radio show in his basement, but it's live. It's pretty cool to me. And topics that he talk about with people be so intriguing. It's enjoyable. I mean, I like to have meaningful, moving forward conversations. You know, I like for my mind to be enlightened, or I like to enlighten other people's minds, just because that's how you move forward. That's how you. It just really is making me think. I feel like I forgot what I was about to say, but he spoke on something that he had to change within himself when it came to his spouse, and it was difficult. Like the way that he spoke to her, he had to change because she wasn't receiving it because of a trauma aspect. And I thought that was so intriguing, honestly, because once he changed like the pitch of his voice, you can't really change your pitch of your voice, you know. I guess you can metaphorically, but he just learned to approach her in a more delicate aspect because she's used to, you know, attacking energy. So he learned to approach her in a more delicate way, and he received better because he gave it to her in a delicate way. And I thought that was so intriguing because that's the aspect, you know, of learning yourself. It sounds so intriguing to say, yo. Because you think yourself is just, yeah, I got a mirror, you know, because I reference the mirrors all the time, and I tell people to get full-length mirrors all the time. Or use the phone like what I'm doing at the moment so you can actually see yourself, but I can't see my whole body, so get that full-length mirror. And examine some things, you know. Some people say, that's what I do. I don't need a spouse, you know. Maybe that ain't your life purpose. Maybe you are one of those creatures or out in the nature aspect. You're not the Adam and Eve aspect. I'm not preferring to you aspects at the moment. Y'all the other aspects, the other tools, accessories, you know, for the ones who just, they're not resonating with this. You one of the other aspects out there. It's not a bad thing. You're very useful. Keep kingdom flowing. Seriously. Keep kingdom flowing. I give myself chuckles, Jesus. They say it takes a village to raise a family, and that's your guys are the village. So thank you. Seriously. But I give myself chuckles, Jesus. I have just an intriguing perspective, and it gets me sometimes when I actually project it out my mouth, because it just feel, oh Jesus, you are intriguing, yo. But I really am, but it's all beneficial. But on that aspect, the other aspects that's out in the village can definitely use a full-length mirror to do some observing to make things flow better, you know, so you don't be so judgmental and things like that. Back to the marriage aspect, though. For the ones who have a hard time confiding in their partner, because they rather look in the individual mirror. You can't do that. Your spouse is your mirror. And it's something, see, that's what it is. It's something that you don't like about yourself. That's the intriguing part. That's the part that they reflect. Or it could be vice versa. The part that you love about yourself, your partner, it's in your partner. It's a vice versa of energy. It's something that you're lacking. And it probably goes back all the way to a trauma form. That's something that got brought to my attention. I always talk about trauma. My mind expansion and trauma has gotten expanded just because I always thought about trauma in like an incest form or something like that. But I recently went to the hospital and they actually had a floor called trauma. I was I was amazed. Like, this whole floor is dedicated to trauma, but it was like in a technically a different metaphor of a way. But it triggered me, like, oh my God. No. But even with that type of approach of an expression for me, it's like, what are you trying to run from? What is triggering you now? But from my whole hospital experience, honestly, I learned about a lot of trauma within my own family aspect. On top of, my hands was a whole trauma situation within myself. So it was just a mountain load for me personally. But with my family aspect, I learned that we have a lot of strong women in our family, but the men are weak. They're very vulnerable. They don't have discipline or self-control. And it just amazed me in that area because it continues to be, I don't know if I can literally say it continues to be, but it's just something that has happened and it has repeated generationally. And it's like, how do you grow when you got weak men? It's like a part of you is going to lack because they're supposed to be solid and strong, but yeah, I can hear my females on the other half, feminine power and women strong, things of that nature. Yes, that is true. You are a different aspect. You're not part of this marriage understanding also. You, the outside, help. What's the word I used? What's the word I used? The village. You're part of the village aspect. You keep things strong. Because I can feel other people's energy and perspectives on things. That's the thing about being in oneness. You feel other people's energy. Then it's just like, you don't need a man and things like that. That's because you a tree, okay? You're plural, like, Jesus, my mind feel like it's about to snap. Not in a bad way. It's just, see, even I gave an example a little bit ago about having to be delicate. Myself have to be delicate and explain things to people and not be ready to snap because they just, but, and this and that, and I like to do things this way. It works for you, and you are meant to teach somebody else in that area who's the same aspect as you in a generationally aspect. Like, I don't think one generation should all be reflecting each other in the same form of a way. That'd be kind of weird, metaphorically. But generationally, it's supposed to get better, not repeat in a negative form of a way. And it usually comes from insecurities, everybody thinking they're supposed to be alike. It's supposed to get better. It still reflect, where you recognize it, but the way Spirit brought to me a while ago was, why aren't lighthouses operating like lighthouses? Like, for generations to come, people coming ain't recognizing teachers because the teachers ain't lit up. They're not expressing themselves fully. They're suppressing something about themselves, and it normally goes back to trauma. And it gets me, honestly. When I say it gets me, it enlightens me. It does. It's a lighthouse for me also, in a metaphor of a way, just because it's an unacceptance aspect that you still have to embrace because it is you. Which helps me go back to the Lord and Savior aspect, dying for us, but knowing it's okay because it's going to come back, like never really going to die. And that's the part that I've been excited about, honestly, is finding that energy when it comes back. And this is specifically marriage energy. Because you can find them and come back together. And I keep getting like pieces and crumbs when it comes to that. It seemed like it started, like my mind got enlightened when it came to a Rebecca and Isaiah aspect, and them having twins, and then the twins getting separated. That's another energy where you can come back together. Do you trust yourself enough to navigate back together? You can do it. You communicate all the time. You're one. You got star kids. Natural lighthouses, yo. Like, it's possible to navigate back together. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I think I got everything I needed. Honestly, a little extra, but everything that I needed to get out. And it's mainly the marriage aspect and reconnecting back together. And confiding in each other. And that's intriguing because this is like, I'm thinking of when y'all come together, or if y'all are together. Communication has to be clear and honest. It's important. And even another aspect I feel I need to speak on, you may even need to be doing what I'm doing at the moment with each other, like making videos, being a lighthouse for others, or actually physically meeting up with people. That energy is needed. It's a lighthouse that's needed. But from a distance aspect, confiding in each other, you receive information, find a way to display it out. Write it down, text it like you do, because I'm a texter. And actually see how it displays out. And then like how to find it. I don't know, you just have to be more aware. I have learned, which has gotten me on Trigonously. It has gotten me. It has enlightened me, not guided me, because I really don't understand it. I'd be a little confused, like, maybe everybody is not social media people. It's not a bad thing. Definitely what I'm getting at, as into coming together and not always relying on technology aspect. It's nice for confirmation, quick confirmation, but we naturally can do this, is what I'm getting at. But I have met people and they're like, oh, I don't be on social media like that. I don't do social media like that. And I normally say it to them because I want them to, join a journey that I'm sharing with them on social media. To realize we have a oneness of a connection. But they normally be like, nah, I don't do social media. And I'm like, why? Like, I always think everybody do social media. Like, everybody always on their phone on some type of app. But some people really, maybe it's the people that I naturally find myself gravitating to, and they normally are artistic people. They are people that you probably normally wouldn't think I would be associating with normally. But I do like smart people. And that's it's an intriguing of a word, definitely, when you mix artistic and say smart. People think artistic people ain't smart for some weird reason, but they really are. It's just, what do you pay attention to? And that's the part that artistic people normally display that I enjoy. But it makes sense because it's like, a smart person knows there's always something new to learn. It's like the phones, as I have learned to display and explain in a metaphor of a use of a way. They're smartphones, but they're always updating. There's always something new to come, even though they're already smart. Like, it's just, there's always something new to learn. It's always evolving. Some, even myself, sometimes think it's too quickly, but hey. I love them type of energies, and I naturally gravitate to them. I want to say levitate. I don't know, levitate, latitude. I don't know why it's in my mind right now, the latitude and longitude aspect, which is intriguing. My mind's probably drifting in another area at the moment. Definitely when it comes to time zones, but I'm not even about to get into that energy right now because I'm trying to stay on topic. That just came in my mind. Keep wanting to come out. Time is it? 12. Oh, it's right on the top part too. That's longitude. Intriguing. That might be energies to pay attention to. 12 and 6 and 9 and 3. And since I checked it out at 12, 6 may be important, honestly. Or vice versa. I don't know. Only you would know that aspect. Ooh, my leg is starting to hurt. I feel like it's falling asleep. It's been a minute since my foot fell asleep. Last time my foot fell asleep, I was in the basement. Those guys. Am I being gentle with my words? Because I just learned that yesterday, honestly, that expression. Because I thought he naturally just was that way. He naturally is that way, but his oneness taught him to be more gentler. People receive better when you're gentle. And I thought that was intriguing because he already seemed like a gentle person to me, you know. And sometimes when it comes to a guy, they think gentle ain't the way to go. They're supposed to be all strong and tough and, I don't know, full of themselves. Which is just, it's not a bad thing, but when you fool yourself in that type of a way, you miss out because you're not being true to yourself. So it's like quite pointless. But last time I was staying in my basement, she said she wanted me to stay in her basement. And it's not, she had a good basement, honestly. A nice basement. Just people was like, she wanted to put you in the basement. I know, right? Why would you want to put me in the basement? But it was a nice basement, I'm not gonna lie. She had a nice basement. She had a nice house. She has a nice house. But anyway, I was recording down there and my foot fell asleep. And I was like, oh my God, it's been a long time since my foot fell asleep. But then I started talking about something. I might have to go back and watch that video too, probably. And after I stopped talking about it, my foot stopped hurting. It was like it was part of it. So that's important too, probably. I don't know in what metaphor, but I'm sure it'd be important. And that's what I mean, things like that. That go with senses. It's important. But is there anything else? Philosophy has came with. That is a great philosophy, isn't it? The philosophy of oneness and realizing your spouse is your God and you are their goddess. Like it's a reason why you come forth in front of all them other aspects, which is like the creations, to let them know y'all found each other. And it's intriguing because the way that I put those together, so it seems like that might be like, that's two different aspects, you know. When was they ever separated? Generationally. It's a generational energy of finding that. That's what I'm getting at. It's not like from the way that it's worded, you know, they just got kicked out of the kingdom. But there has been fixing of that. I guess I could talk about this. My video ain't that long. I feel good. It's okay. I feel good. It's okay. Sometimes when I record too long, I get tired. But something that I talked about a while ago was, I kind of forgot what I was about to say. Did it again, Jesus. What the heck was I about to say? Maybe it's time to wrap the video up. I'm gonna try to remember. I just really forgot. The kingdom. Gotta go back and think for a second. Mixed into areas of the kingdom. I really forgot that fast. It drives me crazy when I do that, yo. Keep moving like a bullet train. You're gonna learn, Hunty. You're going to learn. Ay, ay, ay. It's okay. Apparently, maybe it wasn't meant to talk about right now. So, I guess that'll be in my next video. So, remember, guys, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.